Hello, anyone who's watching this. Winter's back, and it's coming back with a bang. We're currently freezing at the CAC hut, which is really good, and it's just going to get pretty crazy for the next few days, so I'm going to break it down. There's quite a lot that I want to talk about, so I'm going to try not take too much of your time, but also not, run through everything at 100 miles an hour. It's cold again. We're back in some colder air mass. There's been a sprinkle on the mountains as well. The blogs didn't stop, but the forecasts are now running again. It's just a superficial coating at the moment. I think there may be something on the west coast that could get scratched up tomorrow. I don't think there's enough moisture in the east. So here's Loch Nagar from today's. Absolutely no rhyme at all. And then Northern Cairngorm's not much either. But I think in the west coast, it's quite foggy tonight, lower cloud as well. So I think there should be some rime kicking about, but you've got to weigh it up. Is it really worth it? That's not the meat of what's happening over the next week or so. So I'm Eowyn, and I brought it up just here. You can see it off of the Atlantic. It's now finally started to form. Yeah, it's only kind of spun up very, very recently, and I just want to bring attention to it's on the south side of the jet stream. When it hits us, it's going to be on the north side of the jet stream, and we're going to go into a bit more detail about that later. But I just think this is a really, really cool picture of it. You can see it just starting to form here over the ocean, and how powerful and strong the jet stream is at the moment. With this slightly, more stable air mass that we've got now, it's just going to get pushed right off by the jet over the next 12 hours or so. So there are weather warnings in action for the next couple of days. Keep on top of these, they will change. With some of the gusts I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes red. The Republic of Ireland have some red warnings. It's not unlikely that it will come over here. Snow, rain, wind, everything. Again, it all depends on whereabouts the centre of the low goes, but it's kind of currently on track to head basically straight towards the central belt. If I bring it up just here. So tomorrow it's just as cold as today, but there's slightly more moisture kicking about tonight. Friday and Saturday I'd probably keep an eye on the storm. It's definitely not worth going out on Friday. The wind's probably going to get over 100 mile an hour. You can see it here, just has it just to the north coast of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and there's going to be so much uncertainty with all of the numbers and figures that it's just I'm just going to tell you to not go out on Friday. The weekend warriors can be happy though. I do have some good news for them. So here we've got the kind of not very windy winds that we've got at the moment, and it's just picking up a little bit tomorrow through the day as the storm creeps in, and there should be snow coming along with this as well, but I'll get into that in just a moment. I do just want to highlight before the attention span wears off the strength of some of these winds. There are gusts of like 130 miles per hour currently forecast coming over like land, which is just insane, and that will be coming our way as well. More so on Friday afternoon than Ireland has it, but I'll just play this forward quite slowly so you can really soak in these numbers. Friday is not a day to be messing around with, but the good news is the weekend looks like the calm between two storms. There is another system coming through on Monday, Tuesday, and you can see it just creeping up in the bottom left, just here at the end of this run. But again, I'll get into that in just a little bit. So why is this storm developing so much? So you can see it here. We've got the pressure at 1008 hectopascals, and by the time it reaches us, I've seen some of this put some forecasts at 936, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's probably going to be between the 940 and 960 mark realistically. Regardless, over the next day or two, this storm low system is going under explosive cyclogenesis, and it's basically how it's interacting with the jet stream which is causing that. So like I mentioned, it's starting on the south side of the jet stream here, just around here, but when it actually reaches land, it exits on the north side. So we've got something called a right entrance and a left exit, and what that's so significant for is it's just helping speed up the winds. So if you imagine the direction of a low pressure spinning anti-clockwise, if you bring that anti-clockwise pattern and place it on the top of a west to east flowing movement, that is the same direction to help spin it on the north side of it. Quite a difficult thing for me to explain, but it's not a difficult concept. I'm sure people will explain it better than me, but it's not doing much at the moment, but over the next day or two it's going to kind of go crazy, and it'll be quite cool to watch it happen live. And it's going to really quickly become apparent where exactly it's going to go and how strong it's going to be. but it's this bit where it's crossing the jet stream where there's all the uncertainties of how deep it's going to be and how far north or south it's going to tend. But currently, significant amounts of precipitation. So in the reds here for 40, 50 millimeters, which is pretty crazy. And this should be falling as snow as well, quite extensively. Maybe not down to sea level, but not far off it in areas of snowfall cooling loops. So basically, as snow falls from 1,000 meters, say, it will cool the air temperature just beneath of it, so that instead of the freezing level being 1,000, it's locally going to then go down to 800 meters, and then that happens again. So it cycles lower and lower as the snow falls lower. It cools the air further down, lowers the freezing level locally, and it can do that for hundreds of meters really. And that's basically really localized and quite impossible to predict. It's usually more common in glens when there is lying snow on the mountains as well. I'm not going to chuck any numbers out on how low the snow is going to go, but just be happy that there is snow coming. So for the temperatures that we've got, slightly cooler air, this is at 2 meters above sea level, and we're just sitting in single digits. You see the power of this jet stream here. It's coming straight across. It's getting fueled by this really cold air mass that they've got over America at the moment. I'm sure if you go on the news, you'll see all the blizzard conditions that they've got in Texas and New Orleans and all those areas that haven't seen snow for a few years. But here you can see the storm system coming through. I'm sounding like a broken record, but the initial initial arching arm of the warm front coming through. This will bring a lot of precipitation as it meets the cooler air, and you can see that the actual intensity of the warmth is neutralized as it gets on land and reaches some cooler air, and it moves through just there. On the backing end of the low pressure system, again, cooler air will be coming from the northwest. I'm fairly confident that there should be some roundabout for the weekend, but there could be a meter of snow in places, which is going to be a lot more significant. And I'll just quickly show this second band of low pressure coming through Monday, Tuesday. There's a lot of uncertainties with this because it doesn't know how it's going to interact with this low sitting over Greenland. Currently it's kind of barging out the way and splitting, and there's like a rubber band effect between these two low pressures, and it basically becomes really uncertain of what's going to happen because it'll move quite slowly. The warmer core then has more time to develop and impact the type of precipitation we get. So it's all really messy. I'm not going to go too much into detail with it, but there is a lot of signals for this second low pressure coming through, and I've got that in the ensembles just for a little bit later. So the temperatures we've got at the moment, this is 850 hectopascals just above the summit of Ben Nevis. This is for tomorrow, so chilly, and here you can see the arm of the warm front coming through, cooling down as it reaches the cooler air to our north, but you can see the strength of this low. It's still really warm in the core of it as that spirals through, and that will change the precipitation type. And then the backing end of that there is the cooler air coming back. That is a really good cycle there, isn't it? Of precipitation, slight thaw, and then a refreeze, and then another band of low. This is the other one that I'm talking about coming through Monday. Freezing levels and jazz. Here is the core of it, sitting about 1,400 meters freezing level in the core, and for us it's got the freezing level at 400 on the north side of the warm front and 1,200 on the south side. This is Friday morning. If I bring this forward, it gets kind of, like I say, neutralized by the colder air, and then it has it sticking about 600. So with snowfall cooling feedback, that could fall as snow down to sea level in certain locations, or it could fall as snow only to 1,000 meters if the warm front is stronger. You can't really tell. Temperatures, again, this is for the weekend, just showing that there will be a refreeze, which is really exciting. -6, -7, just above the summits. Here's the back end of the low pressure. I'm just going backwards in time here, sorry. So, good temperatures to be having. And here is the pressure gradient. So that is the explosive cyclogenesis. Just look how significantly that dips from 990 down to 950 in the space of a day. And here's the second one that I just wanted to quickly point out. There is evidence of some high pressure blocking, which would be quite nice because these two cycles should be quite good for the snowpack. And similarly, the precipitation for, this is Aberdeenshire, so a little bit more to the east coast, still getting some precipitation around 8 or 9 millimeters, and this will be significantly more on the mountain and significantly more on the west coast because that's where it's coming. So I really like this graphic. I thought it was really useful just to see the line convection happening within the wind itself. You can see the warm front here and the amount of backing that's happening as it comes through. but I just wanted to show the other side of the low pressure, bringing northwesterly winds back, so chilly air coming back for the weekend. So it does look awful while it's coming through, but there is potentially good conditions to be found this weekend. I'm not saying it's going to be a bluebird day with top nick, but it's going to be significantly better than what we've had recently. And while it's here, I'll just bring through this second low pressure system. So slightly larger, slightly further south, so warmer, and we can hope that, you know, it's a good cycle for the mountains. But most importantly, I'll just quickly go through the precipitation, because I'm sure that's what you're kind of most excited to see. So here it comes here. So this is the snowfall or rain in millimeters per hour. The numbers may be single digits, but you've got to remember this is every single hour that this pixel is registering this number. It will be 4 millimeters. So if it's 4 millimeters for 20 hours, that will be 80 millimeters within, you know, a day, which is a very large amount. So even one showing a rainfall rate of 1 millimeter per hour, that is quite a lot of rain falling in that space. And you can see it's a lot of purples coming up as well, and these pixels are for all the altitudes in that area, so the majority of the precipitation type for these areas will be snow. And you can see just as it moves through and the cold air comes back, it's showing that all of it will be falling as snow for Friday afternoon, so potentially down to some lower levels on this one. So here is the precipitation accumulation. So this is the total amount of precipitation expected to fall between now and Sunday morning, and you can see it's significantly more on the west coast of Scotland. I think I can zoom in on this one. There we go. So the west coast getting most of it, still significant amounts to the east and the south, but just where the brunt of the front system moves through will be here. So the takeaways are potential scratching tomorrow if you get in the right place at the right time. I'm not too optimistic, but there is just a bit more fog around tonight, and it's a bit cooler with some moisture in the air, so there will be rime around tomorrow. Friday, stay inside. It's not pleasant, it's not good, it's not worth going out and, you know, having an injury on Friday. But the weekend should be better. The types of routes I'm not too sure at the moment, because we have got a northwesterly wind with moisture in it, so, you know, potential rime and about for early season. But the extent of the snowfall will be the factor that you need to consider the most of, you know, what altitude do you go to climb, or do you even get on routes for build-up if, you know, the cycle comes through quite quickly and quite well for Sunday. Into the next week, another system coming through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all getting a bit messy, but basically we've got similar trends of unsettled weather, very unpleasant conditions with a couple cycles happening, and there's some trends for higher pressure dominating over the start of February, as also shown in this ensemble. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.